Welcome to DVCom Technology. In this lab series, I am going to show it to you how to configure LAN and WAN interfaces on Vigor 2962 router. So before we are going to start the configuration, and let's go and see what are the tasks that we are going to see in this entire video series. The first task is verify the topology. So topology is nothing but the layout. What is the IP addresses you are going to configure, and how you are going to connect each and every device in the network. So make sure that before you are going to configure, your topology is clear. Then second one, access Vigor 2962 with the default IP. As you know that if it doesn't have any IP addresses initially, so the default IP address is 192.168.1.1, and how you are going to access and how you are going to configure your LAN interface and WAN interface as per the customer requirement. And whenever you are going to configure the WAN interfaces, make sure that you should be clear what type of WAN connection you are going to get from your service provider. Some service providers, they are going to give you the IP address as a DHCP. Your internet service provider is going to provide you the WAN connection as a DHCP, and sometimes they are going to give you static IP. So static IP is nothing but you are going to get an IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, preferred DNS, and alternate DNS. And sometimes you are going to get a username and password, which is a PPPoE connection, point-to-point protocol over Ethernet. And let's go and do the final configurations, and after that verify it whether it's working fine or not. So this is my lab topology. So in my lab topology, there is a port number 1. If you see here, port number 1, which is connected directly to the internet. So this is the interface I am going to use it as a WAN. Actually, this is my basic topology, guys. Let's say one of your customer, he requested some basic configurations. So I took as a basic topology, and port number 1 I have connected directly to the internet, and from the service provider I am going to get the IP address through DHCP. So we can call it as a dynamic IP. Then there is a port number 6, which is this, is connected to my LAN interface. So I can use it for the LAN. And as per the customer requirement, we are going to configure 192.168.100. network. So 100.1 is my gateway, and DHCP and DNS I am going to enable it. So these are the tasks that I am going to show it to you. In the final verification, I have a layer 2 switch in my network from the different vendor, and I am going to show it to you how I am going to get the IP address for PC1 and PC2. So this is the task that I am going to do it, guys. So mainly I am going to configure the WAN interface and LAN interface. So first let's go and access the Vigor 2962. So first task is that access the Vigor 2962 with the default IP. So I am going to access Vigor 2962, and the default username is admin and default password is admin. Say login. Then after that, you can able to see here, go to the LAN and make sure that whenever you are going to do the configurations, first thing you need to make it off. There is a auto logout, make it off. Otherwise what will happen, if you don't do any activity on your dashboard, on your DrayTek router, after you log in, then automatically it's going to log out after a few seconds. So to avoid that, we are going to make it off. So first you can go to the LAN, then click on the general setup. So in the general setup, if you see here, there is a LAN 1 which is configured with 192.168.1.1. But before you are going to configure this LAN 1, I just give you some nice information to you guys. Go to the port setup. If you see here in the port setup, initially in my previous video, I have explained to you port number 1 and port number 2. These are the configurable ports, right guys? So either you can use it as a WAN or you can use it as a LAN. So here you can able to choose which one you want to. So right now I'm going to use it as a WAN. And also if you see here, it's going to support 2.5 Gbps, 1 Gbps, 100 Mbps and 10 Mbps also. So you can choose according to your requirement. So right now I just make it as a auto, so you no need to worry about it because it does the auto negotiation. Then port number 2, I don't want to do any configuration, and I'm again focusing on port number 6. So right now my PCs, my internal networks are going to connect on port number 6. So which means port number 6 is going to act as a LAN and port number 1 is going to act as a WAN. So this is what I'm going to do, guys. In case if you have any further requirement, you can just change the configuration, the port you can able to set up according to your requirement. Either you can use it for LAN or you can use it for WAN. So now let's go to the LAN interface. Then click on general setup. Then after that click on the details page. So as per my lab topology, I need to change the IP address as 192.168.100.1. Then after that, in case if you want to give a nice description, you can specify that. So I can say internal network. Then after that, select the DHCP server. So I'm expecting my Vigor 2962 is going to act as a DHCP server for my internal users. So I'm going to say I'm going to start the IP address from 100.11 and I just need 50 IP addresses and I'm going to say the gateway is 100.1. Then the DNS server. So my DNS server which I got it from my service provider is 213.42.20.20 195.229.241.222. Then after that you can click OK. Then say OK. Then do you want to reboot your router using current configuration? But make sure that don't select using factory default configurations. Keep remember this one, guys. So once you select the down option, then it's automatically go for reset. So now I'm going to select using current configuration, then click OK. Then now open the command prompt and keep a continuous ping, guys, to your gateway. So in case if you get the right, put -t, in case if you get the IP address from your DHCP, then automatically you are going to get a reply from your Vigor 2962. So just wait for it. How much time is going to take? Here I just want to give you an interesting point, guys. So whenever it's taking bit time, so you just do one thing. Instead of the device is going to reset it, the network interface is going to reset and it's going to come back. To avoid this delay, just you can disconnect the cable manually and connect it back again, so that your PC is going to contact directly. And see here, immediately you got the reply from your Vigor 2962. This is one more thing, guys. So because some people they used to ask me these questions, how much time is going to take, how much time I'm going to wait. The moment when you save the configuration, the router is going to reboot and it will going to come back maximum 10 to 15 seconds. Just remove your cable and connect it back so that you can avoid any kind of delay. So now I'm going back to my page and now I'm going to access through 100.1. Now give the default username is admin and default password is admin. So now I have successfully configured my LAN interface. To see that information, just go to the dashboard and you can able to see here which is configured with 192.168.100.1. As I told you before, you are going to do any configurations, just say logout off so that you can avoid that automatic logout. And right now if you want to check what's the IP address my PC got, so just you can go to the diagnostics. Then after that you can just click on the DHCP table. Then if you see here, right now my PC got the IP address as 192.168.100.11 and this is the MAC address for my PC and what is the time period for my DHCP. And this is the name. See, you can able to see the complete information, guys. Whenever you go to the diagnostics, you can able to see the complete information related to the guys who got the IP address, so that their MAC address, their IP address, everything you can able to see it. That's the beauty of this. Now let's go and configure the WAN interface. So before you are going to configure the WAN interface, just click on the general setup and make sure that your interface is enabled or not. So just if you want to disable it here, because some people they used to ask me this question, say maybe I am not able to see the interface whether it's enabled or not. So to check that, if you just go to the WAN and click on the general setup, then click on your WAN, then you can see here there is a enable. So in case if it is not enabled, by default maybe some people what they do, they are going to keep disable it. So they are going to apply like this, but make sure that enable it. And one more interesting thing guys I need to mention here, it's very important for everybody to understand this. So sometimes your service provider is going to provide for you like internet connection through the VLAN ID also. So in Dubai some people they used to ask me these questions. So that time where you are going to put the VLAN ID along with your PPPoE username and password. So make sure that here you just go to your WAN 1, because since you are planning to connect your internet connection on WAN 1 interface, which is belongs to P1. Okay guys, P1 port. And first you just go there and click on the general setup, and here you are going to select enable, make it enable. Then after that specify the tag value. So you just ask your service provider what's the tag value, so that they will tell you, let's say 23. So this is your VLAN ID, then click OK. Because most of the people they used to tell me we have entered our username and password very correctly, and which we got it from our service provider, but unfortunately still the connection is not going to establish with service provider. So the reason behind this, service provider to provide more secure, he is going to give you the VLAN tag. So make sure that you need to enable the VLAN tag on your WAN interface, and you need to give the VLAN ID. That is very important guys. So right now I don't want to do that. Why? Because I'm just got the DHCP. So that is very important. See here, just enable it and specify this. That is one. And second is go to the internet access. Then after that you can see here what is your access mode. The access mode you can select either PPPoE, which is point to point protocol over Ethernet, or static or dynamic. So PPPoE is nothing but your service provider is going to provide username and password. So that is the PPPoE connection. So in case if you have a PPPoE connection, just select this, click on the details page. Now you can see here, just enable it, then specify the username and password here. Then after that you no need to do any changes guys, just go down and say OK. That's it. Then in case if your service provider said to you either you have a static or dynamic, select static or dynamic and click on the details page. And now if you see here, this is your static or dynamic. By default it's enable, and you can able to see here obtain an IP address automatically. You understand guys? And this is the one which is going to enable for you DHCP. In case if your service provider said to you this is the IP address and this is the subnet mask, gateway, preferred DNS and alternate DNS, and if you give it to you manually, you should enter those details here guys. This is very important for everyone. So right now I'm going to select as obtain an IP address automatically. Then you no need to do any changes here. That's it. So now what I'm going to do, let's go and take my WAN connection and I'm going to connecting to on port number 1. So port number 1 is going to act as a internet. So this is my WAN connection. I'm going to connect it now. So let's go and check in the dashboard what's the status. So click on the dashboard and see here the WAN 1 is connected. It's showing in the green color, which means I have connected with 1 Gbps connection. Okay guys, and one more thing is that here still okay, very good. Now you see guys, just now the date and time got changed. Okay guys, so now, and the first verification is very important. Whenever you got the IP address, the DHCP IP address from your service provider, by default in your routing table of your DrayTek router, there is a default route is going to inject. Let's go and see that. So first of all, let's go to the diagnostics and click on the routing table. So the first one is that there is a default route. See carefully guys, this is the first one, which is the default route, which is injected by default from your service provider. So the default gateway is 192.168.0.1, which is from my service provider. And their network is configured, and you can see in the down there is a connected. So from our side we configured 192.168.100 network, that is for my LAN. And for the WAN from my service provider, I got the network as 192.168.0. So this is my WAN network. So this is one of the verification, guys, very important verification. Now the second thing is that what's the IP address I got it from my service provider. So for that you can just go to your dashboard. Then after that you just go down and you can see here from my service provider I got the IP address as 192.168.0.130. But here I want to mention one important thing, guys. Don't get confused why I got the private IP, because sometimes in Dubai, whenever you are going to connect the internet connection, you will get the private IPs from your service provider. Nowadays, if you see, the service provider is not providing public IPs, so they are giving the internet through private IP. So don't get confused on this part. Okay, this is the private IP which I got it from my service provider. So this IP address is going to act as a WAN IP. And now the third verification is that let's go and check it whether I can able to get the internet or not. So to check, first of all, I'm going to check from my device. So for that, just if you see, guys, go to the diagnostics. Then after that there is a ping diagnosis. Just click on that. Then I'm going to give you the regular IP address, which is 4.2.2. Then after that click run, say OK. Now you just wait for 10 seconds, it's going to come now. If you are able to have an internet, if you are able to reach from your Vigor 2962, then you can able to get a reply. See, I got a successful reply. And also one more thing, guys, the verification that I got the IP address, right? And my IP address is 100.11 and I need to check whether I can go for internet or not. Ping 4.2.2. See, my PC also can able to access the internet successfully. So I'm going to open the website www.draytek.com. Now you can able to see how quick and fast. And in case if you want to download a latest firmware, just go to the support and click on the latest firmware. And you can able to see the latest firmware for your appliance and choose what is the model that you want to download it, and you can download it. And in case if you want to go for DrayTek FTP site, you can able to see the old firmwares as well. In case if you have some issues with the existing, if you want to go back to the previous versions, you can able to go from here. So this is how you are trying to provide the internet access and how you are going to connect your LAN for your Vigor 2962. And here on my whiteboard I want to give you some other information also, guys. This is especially for integrators, very helpful. For example, some people they may tell you dedicatedly I am going to use port number 6 to configure my Vigor 2962. So that time what you can do now, you can keep your existing IP, or if you want you can change it according to your requirement. Let's say my existing is 192.168.1.network, that I am going to use it to configure my Vigor 2962 router. And port number 5 I am going to use for my staff. So that time what you can do, this port number 5 you can specify the different network. As per my lab topology I am going to give you 192.168.100.1, which is /24. And this one what you can do, you can directly connecting to on layer 2 switch. Okay guys, this is directly connecting to on layer 2 switch. So let's go and give you some nice video. And 100.1, and this is directly connecting on layer 2 switch, and here you are going to connect all your computers, so that once you enable the DHCP and DNS, then automatically these guys whoever connected on this switch, automatically they are going to get the IP address. So here make sure that port number 5 we are dedicatedly using for our staff, and port number 6 dedicatedly we are going to use it for our internal network. So if you want to do any configuration activities, directly you can connect and you can able to configure your appliance. So this is one way of doing, guys. And even if you want port number 3 or port number 4, you can keep into different networks. So that is actually a port based. And we have a two type of mechanisms that we are going to support. The first one is port based and second one is tag based. So in my next videos I am going to talk about the tag based and I am going to talk about the port based. So those are the very important stuff, guys. So it's either how you want to configure it. Port based is nothing but each and every port you are going to keep it into the different networks. And tag based is nothing but from the single port you are going to carry multiple VLANs information. That's what I'm going to do. So in my next lab I'm going to show you those. I hope This video is very helpful and informative, you guys. And if you need any clarifications or if you want any sales related stuff, you can send as an email like support@datawise.com. Thank you for watching.